Hey there guys, Mason here, Cardinal Gaming. Thanks so much for clicking on the video, like and subscribing, all that good stuff. Appreciate you all watching like you always do. Uh, I've not gone back and looked at the price history for the last couple sets, Shining Fates and all that. Battle Styles, it's out now. Still early to do Battle Styles, so we're going to hold off on that. We'll look at it a little bit, but not go crazy. But I'm particularly focusing on Shining Fates and seeing what this stuff has been doing here real recently, and kind of explain an interesting phenomenon, if you want to call it that, with the new wave release schedules and how that is affecting pricing and the price of these cards. So I am on my very useful website I use all the time, one of my favorite sites I use, pikastocks.com. You can break it down by sets and kind of just click on a card and it'll give you like a nice little graph like this. You guys have seen this probably numerous times now. I love to use this website. It's very informative, very useful. It's not perfect. There's some things that you have to kind of figure out as you use it, but yeah, the information is pretty useful, at least to track trends. So the big hitter out of the regular set of Shining Fates is all the full arts, and Skyla is the most expensive one. So as you can see, Shining Fates is probably like 5 weeks old now. Just about. Came out, looks like the 20th of February, so that's the first information that they have, and we're all the way here in March 26th with this today. So you can see, this line is very flat. A very flat situation here with pricing for singles. Normally, you see a big ramp up, big hype when a set releases, or even into pre-releasing when cards are pre-released and sold. You'll see a big, huge spike here, and then they'll crash in price, typically, and then settle to a floor somewhere. And yeah, it didn't happen with Skyla here, at least. It has been pretty consistently right around from, looks like 65 when she first came out to right around 45 now. So not like a huge swing. Just interesting. Obviously, this is the Chase waifu of the set. Chase waifu? Yeah, but obviously the main card that full art that people do want from the regular set. And to see it just kind of be a flat line is kind of weird. Especially, a month after release. It should have definitely at least settled and crashed from where it was selling at. Whenever you see, I'll break these lines down. The blue line, the dark blue line is the average price that is on like a TCG player. The low is the lowest active listing that is on there right now. Or on the date, I'm sorry. So I like to use that because that means that is the price that a seller is trying to sell it for. So as you can see, where things like this, where this gap is really close, is where those averages and the low were very close to each other. And then out here where it's spaced out, that kind of gives you an idea of kind of like people selling that card for higher than what the the lowest person is trying to get for it. So that's what those lines mean. I think low is the most accurate because, again, that's going to be the lowest active that's on there. The price that, is more than likely the first one that's going to sell. So just a little disclaimer of how those lines are working. So that's Skyla. Flat. Okay, let's look at somebody else. Pokekid. Okay, a little more dynamic here. A little bit of a skid down here. But again, after like a week after release, very stable. Not a whole lot of variation there. Very flat. Pokekid is probably right where I would have expected this card to land, right at around below $20. So pretty normal there. Okay, keep going. Ball Guy. You either love him or you hate him. Still like a popular full art from this set. Just a goofy card and a goofy character. It's kind of crazy that he exists, but again, it's kind of flat. Just kind of like not a whole lot going on. Even if you wanted to trim the first couple days off, which you can do if you slide this a little way. No like big crash from like a bunch of these cards hitting the market, right? So that's just an interesting thing. Pierce. Now Pierce has a more normal kind of like release skid the first couple days, and then kind of a settling. This is very normal looking, but again, just after that first week, kind of flat. Only $1 in variation for a long time. So I was looking at some other, the more mid-range stuff. Kyogre is technically in the regular set, so he's here in this one again. This is very typical. Big peak here, and then boop, when all the cards hit the market, they're going to race to the bottom, and then it kind of settles at the demand is higher. Those normally have like a little surge here. If not, they normally just keep falling. So again, pretty flat. Again, after that first week or so. Keep it moving. All right, into the shiny vault. Now, yes, big peak here at first. Yeah, of course. But let's do the whole little thing where I trim it down and kind of get rid of those things so we can see the graph more closely. Less extreme of a price variance here, you know. Sitting about $600 at the end of February. This time now, we're about $340. So, you know, a big difference. But you know, for the chase card of the set, again, pretty flat, and not a lot of just variance in this line. It's kind of weird to see. And we'll look at some other sets and see what we can take out of that. So let's go through just you know, the other cheaper stuff under the shiny vault. We're gonna see the Suicune here. Suicune is the outlier and the most interesting card for the babies for sure, but of just probably the shiny vault in general, of how weird the variance is on these prices. Two big spikes, and then kind of like a flat line, and kind of like a little resurgence here, like mid-March, and kind of just is crept back up to right at $50. Very interesting for a baby shiny. Suicune, of all the cards that are in here, is probably the best baby for sure, best looking one for sure. You know, to be you know, a legendary that is in there. So yeah, interesting. The Ditto V, again, big spike at first, then kind of a flat line. Eternatus V Max, very similar. Again, my point here, guys, is this flat area here. This flat is just not typical, particularly through here. This should be a much longer of a duration here for this price to fall. So it's interesting to see it just kind of just level out. Let's turn the low on for Lapras. Again, very flat. I think you get my point. Rapidash, even Rapidash, we're getting into the cheaper, like, you know, $15 to $10 range. Flat, super flat. Ponyta actually is kind of have some movements. Movements and jumps like this are good and important because that shows a lot of movement on this card. So something like this is very cool to see. That means that, you know, probably multiples of this card sold in that day from this market, and that it drove the price to go higher, which is just kind of tells you how popular a card is. So when you see a lot of ups and downs like this, a down here means that sellers are putting lots on the website and they're driving the price down as they try to compete against each other. And then right here, this is a buy where several of those cards at the bottom got bought, and then the floor moves up. So, you know, again, a basic economic principle that when talked about with Pokemon and how that works, kind of reinforces what's going on with the market right now. Yeah, Inteleon, again, these are like mid-range guys, very flat. Has a little bump here where somebody probably listed it super cheap, and then they all got bought back up, and then it went right back up to where it is. Grimmsnarl is the another full art VMAX, or VMAX that is in the shiny vault. And then I chose Double, which is like a lower, I think, what is it, $5 or $6, $4 to $5, somewhere in that range. And again, even in the cheaper cards, flatline right here, which is abnormal. So the point I'm trying to make and show you guys is that with other sets, and particularly like with, let's say, Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates had these baby shinies pretty much hit a floor of like $2 or $3, you know, probably a month or so after release, probably maybe a little longer. So to see these cards kind of just stagnate here at $5 for this double, for example, is very weird and interesting. Like the market should be really flooded with these, and it's not. Obviously, the reason for that is not only the demand being so high and the availability for these cards being so low as they are, but the product being released in waves like they were. You can almost see where these waves hit because the what is it, fourth week of February is when the set released, is when we would have got our first wave, and then it was the first week of March that we got our second wave. So it's almost follows this graph almost exactly, where on the second wave of our Shining Fates that we didn't have to wait very long for, it was released and made the price for this go down. Right there, mid March the 4th. Let's see if we can go back and see any other correlation with that. Rapidash, not so much. Let's see what the Ditto. March 4th does slide a little bit. Alright, here. Charizard. Big dip down right there. Right on the weekend of when the second wave came out. So you see where if these supply was very plentiful and over and over and over, we'd be seeing these cards hit. And even big boxes did see that kind of stability because of how the vendor stock. Obviously, they're not going to put all their stock out at one time. They're going to, every week when they go to come back and restock, they're going to, fill that stuff back up every time. So, yeah, it's interesting that I was able to see that, at least in the Charizard of all things. But interesting. So yeah, and I look back and I was like, okay, let's go to Vivid Voltage. That saw a big release and then a dry up period where there was no cards at all. And I just chose Pikachu VMAX, kind of like a mid-range guy that was a big popular seller though. So again, on the release, normal skid right here. That was like looks like that was a 20-day period until it flatlined. Pretty good, pretty stable. Again, this all through this period there was no Vivid Voltage out. And then at the beginning of the year, they kind of said, "Oh, yeah, that restock is been delayed. It's not happening. It's kind of all this other stuff is coming out and it's being prioritized." And then it saw a bump, like a $5 bump right here in the beginning of the year, right when the Rainbow Pikachu saw the big bump as well in January. So either a buyout happened or there was some sort of news or information that happened, and we were like, oh wait, no, Vivid Voltage not coming anytime soon. So yeah, so this is an interesting little thing that you can actually trace and see in these sort of little blips. So I was looking at that, and now I was pulling up some battle styles. Of course, battle styles very early still. The sealed stuff is very strong, is higher than I thought it would be. We're seeing boxes anywhere from 140 to 160 right now for booster boxes, which several weeks after release now is weird. It's a weird thing to see. And we're hearing that it won't be till mid-April till we see more products. So we got to go 3 more weeks until we get any sort of battle styles, it seems. So we're kind of in a lull where we're just stuck. And again, you look at the prices for this is just the full art, the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Again, a little after the initial release, and then yeah, just not a lot of deviance there, just flat. And I was looking at the Mimikyu, another popular Pokemon, surely is seen buys and sells pretty regularly. Interesting little blip here in the middle where people are like, oh shoot, there's a Mimikyu V in there, alright, I'm gonna buy it, and then they're like, oh, that is release weekend, so yeah. But yeah, that one is a little more of a slide like we're used to seeing. Again, this is release weekend, but they had pricing data before that on this card. I'd cropped it out before, so we can go to there. This is the alternate full art of the single strike Urshifu, the more popular of the Urshifu V's, it seems, because the price is higher. But yeah, just a leveling period. And again, this is the effect of these waves and not seeing product stocked, where a lot of this product and singles aren't being released. So there's not a lot of competitiveness in the market with singles. People are pretty much either holding on to them, or people are saying, yeah, I'm going to wait till this card goes down in price, and then now we're just waiting here 2 weeks after the set releases, and we're like, are these prices going to change? Are they going to go down? It's interesting because we're seeing these prices and these graphs that should be very roller coaster dip dive. It's being stretched out and really minimized and almost just like a trickle down as opposed to a fall or a crash that you see when these large amount of singles would normally hit the market. We're not seeing that on this stuff with the waves, so it's interesting. What does this mean? What does this shoe do? What is this? What can we take this and use this information for? Is here's the regular art of our shoe. Again, we know that there's a promo box and stuff where this guy's in. So, and that released on that weekend, and that's where that dip is. Again, this is release right here. So, it's gonna be interesting because either people are gonna be like, okay, prices are stable. I'm gonna buy all these singles if I want to buy all these cards because sealed isn't gonna come down because people that have product don't want to sell it, and people that don't have any product obviously are desperate for it. So as soon as that stuff comes in, it's going to be sold as well. I know a lot of places are already doing Wave 2 pre-sales on stuff because we actually have, a more concrete, yes, this is when we're going to get stuff than even Shining Fates was. So we're on to mid-April. That means we've got 3 weeks to just of no restocks. So the people that have product is holding it because they can, and because the prices, there's no motivation to lower the price because once you sell it, it's gone. And then on the singles side, there's not a lot of it being opened, so it's just what's out there is out there right now, and unless you buy the box, you're not going to get these singles for any cheaper. So that's why it's almost you can buy a box right now and potentially do okay because these prices are holding so strong. Even for a regular V, which you will get, should get 4 or 5 of these in a box, it's still, a card that has money or has value to it. So, and this is the one that, like I said, this is a V that has a promo coming, is very cheap. There's probably some mid-range ones like Corviknight. Corviknight's a very popular card that actually might see some play. I know I saw him a little higher. Mimikyu again is high for even a full art. Right around $15 it looks like. So that's pretty good for a not really playable full art. That's pretty good. So all these prices are holding pretty strong. So there's people out there that are buying sealed and opening it because you can end up doing okay on it. So that's just an interesting phenomenon, a little thing that's happening right now, and it is very unique to this time of Pokemon. It would never happen like this, and prices would not be this way, in normal times. So just want to kind of do a deep dive there, guys, and look at these prices and why they are where they're at, and the logics and the reasoning behind why these prices are so high. It's going to be interesting. Just exactly how much of this next wave that we get, what of the next wave is, because I hear a lot of it's going to be Elite Trainer boxes, not a lot of booster boxes potentially. So we'll see. Booster boxes may still hold a premium, so we'll see what that shakes out and how that goes, because I know there's just not sealed product out there, and still, so it's an interesting time to be watching both sealed and single market. So that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully that helps you and gives you some things to think about, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.